Mercury has an extended stay in curious Gemini. They want you to be the one who dares to ask the questions. Gosh, that was quick, wasn't it? Ever curious Mercury is already gearing up for a change of scenery as they enter the sign of Gemini on April 29th. And Mercury's returning home to Gemini. What's there not to like? Usually we get very excited when a planet returns home. That all depends on how comfortable you are with that planetary energy in its element. Mercury in Gemini is a little wild. It's a little scattered, it's a little unfocused, but it keeps it interesting and it keeps the mind sharp and it keeps us on our toes. Mercury in Gemini is here to offer, with a greater ease of transmission to us, a greater access of wit, brilliance, mischief. Oh yeah, mischief is especially going to rise, especially once Mercury stations retrograde in Gemini. That'll be a whole thing. But yeah, like the quicksilver of the mind is going to be just like more accessible to us. So if you find yourself all over the place, starting 4 books and finishing 1, that's right on target, because that is the essence of Mercury, a planet that craves diversity, a planet that craves stimulus, a planet that wants to continuously learn. This is a planet that is extremely curious. And archetypally, Mercury is youthful. And I have a 2-year-old, and this girl is so smart. Like every day she's learning new words. Who knows where she picked that up from? Like, gosh, like she's a little sponge. And so Mercury in Gemini sort of encourages us to keep our mind supple, to keep our mind pliable, because once you sort of crystallize in one point of view, it limits us. And one of the things that they say about staying young is, doing a crossword puzzle every day, like keeping your brain working. So the point of this transit is to get curious, to explore, to scatter your focus a little bit. And so that might be hard. If you're required to focus for your job, if you struggle to focus, but you find that you need to, that's me. That's why I like Mercury in Aquarius transit. It helps me like stay sharp and stay focused and inspired. This one can be a little bit more challenging for folks because it does tend to scatter our attention a little bit. But the invitation is discovery. Maybe you do have trouble focusing on writing your paper, but maybe the invitation is to try to create a different style of media or, experiment a little bit, change up the format. That's the invitation here, because Mercury in Gemini is brilliant. It's quicksilver. Like, the mind is multifaceted. Think about, that's the thing. Like Jupiter says, this is the truth. Mercury is like, nobody knows the truth. There's so many different versions of truth. Everyone has their own truth. Mercury in Gemini helps us to get curious about, another facet of perspective, another point of view, another factoid that might, throw a cog in the machine, throw a wrench in the machine. And so that's the invitation. That's the invitation with Mercury and Gemini. We're supposed to mix it up. We're supposed to get curious. We're supposed to be a little mischievous. And that mischief, as I mentioned, is really going to intensify when Mercury stations retrograde. So Mercury is going to have an extended stay in Gemini. This is fun stuff. Mercury will actually be in Gemini until July 4th. However, we will have a little bit of a reprieve when Mercury stations retrograde on May 10th. It's going to retrograde back into Taurus. So this upcoming Mercury retrograde is going to evenly split its time between Gemini and Taurus. There is a lot happening. There is a lot up for review in our Gemini house, and our Taurus house is getting a big wake-up call as well, thanks to Uranus, thanks to the eclipses. And we're doing some big rearranging in Gemini, wherever you have your Gemini house. So this Mercury retrograde might be really important for us. Depending on what's going on in your chart, depending on so many other factors, we can always chat about that one-on-one. But yeah, so Mercury will go back into Taurus for a little bit. But yeah, Mercury rules thievery. Mercury is cunning. Mercury has the sleight of hand, like you don't even know. So that's the thing. That's where I say mischief. Number one, watch out for it, but also, there's mischief to be had. And that's something that Mercury in Gemini wants us to delight in is playfulness, curiosity, not taking anything too seriously. Like, come on. And yeah, that's the interesting thing about Mercury is that Mercury, I'm reading this really cool book on Mercury right now, and they are talking about how Mercury like invents lying and also invents various forms of ritual, and it's so fascinating. Yeah, Mercury also rules magic. So that's something that you can get creative with in language with Mercury and Gemini, so that you might be saying one thing and you mean it one way, but people understand it a different way. It could be kind of fun. So play around. Mercury's gonna be in Gemini through July 4th. See, I'm already getting the mischief in my mind. And that's a little bit about Mercury's travel through Gemini. I'm sure we'll be talking more about it. But for now, that is your astrology shot of the day. Bye.
Thanks so much for tuning in with me today. Book your next astrology reading with me by visiting my website, where you can also sign up for my newsletter and stay up to date on courses, events, and new articles. Bye.